I was going through some post-World War II planning documents, old housing files, census reports, urban renewal notes, that sort of thing. And I found something that made me stop and go, wait, what? Because while this country was celebrating the post-war boom, the federal government was quietly tracking where Black families built wealth. Not to support it, not to expand it, of course. Just to keep an eye on it. And I realized that nobody tells us this part. So let me explain what was actually happening. Right after World War II, several federal agencies, they started making maps and reports about where Black middle-class neighborhoods were forming. Not poor neighborhoods, middle-class ones. This included the FHA, the old HOLC system, which, by the way, their redlining maps were still influencing decisions being made, the Census Bureau, the Department of Commerce, and city planning boards. And what were they tracking, right? They wanted to know where Black families were buying homes, where Black-owned businesses were growing, where Black income was rising, where Black professionals were moving. So basically, mapping Black prosperity. And the language in these reports, it wasn't positive. You'll see phrases along the lines of Negro income concentrations, areas of rising Negro prosperity, shifts in racial stability. And once those neighborhoods were identified, the pattern just becomes obvious. In cities across the country, Detroit, Chicago, DC, Atlanta, St. Louis, and plenty more, Black middle-class neighborhoods were flagged as risks to the existing racial balance. And after those neighborhoods were flagged, here's what tended to follow. Highways cut straight through them. Zoning changed to block business growth. Mortgage access tightened. Schools gerrymandered. Urban renewal targeted those areas. These weren't random decisions. They showed up right after the mapping. What the planners were worried about wasn't poverty. It was Black stability, Black families using the GI Bill, Black home ownership going up, Black business districts getting strong. Black upward mobility to them meant political power, voting power, economic influence. And the planning documents read like they were trying to keep that from growing too fast. So here's the part that made it click for me. By the 1950s, these maps were being used to justify decisions that were made to break apart Black neighborhoods, thriving Black neighborhoods, highway reconstruction, redevelopment, denial of loans, neighborhood clearance, school lines drawn to keep districts unequal. Not because the neighborhoods were failing, though, because they were succeeding. Planning boards literally described Black middle-class areas as something that needed to be managed before they influenced nearby white suburbia. So the government wasn't tracking crisis. They were tracking progress and stepping in. So here's the real takeaway. Black prosperity after World War II wasn't something that the government just noticed. It was something they monitored. And the resistance to it wasn't random. It was baked into housing policy, zoning policy,